because I think there is like that stigma of, you know, an art collector is in the upper echelon of society, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like you said, if you're passionate about collecting art for your home, guess what? You're an art collector.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm George, co-founder of Bluethumb. I'm joined by Amy, and this is the Art in My Home podcast. We explore the stories behind the art people have in their homes.
At Bluethumb, we're dedicated to creating a welcoming home for Australian artists and are making it our mission to find perfect homes for artwork. Today's guest is Brie-Turton. She's an accomplished interior designer across commercial residential design and is the founder of Studio Brie. Brie also hosts a television show, Australia's Best House, and has one of the most popular and best interior design accounts on TikTok we've seen. We're huge fans of her work at Bluethumb, so it's great to have her here today. Welcome, Brie.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Very excited.
So to kick off, Brie, tell us about your home. How have you decorated it? What's the decor like?
My home currently is a construction site. We recently purchased it with the idea of renovating, but before we do that, we're living in it. So I would describe my style as falling apart. It was this beautiful old home. It's got such incredible bones, but the lady who was living there before us, she just hadn't upkept.
Sure.
When we bought it, for example, there wasn't a full functioning kitchen or a full functioning bathroom. There's holes in the wall, paint was falling off. So we've just gotten it to a point where it's literally just inhabitable and we're just sticking it out until the renovation starts. So unfortunately, I don't have a beautiful spiel on my decorated home to give you because, we're waiting on a reno.
Yeah. And are you working kind of room by room or?
We're not. So I have done some updates, obviously, because I couldn't help myself. We had gotten in and just sprayed all the walls white. And then as we lived in it, I was like, okay, we need some colour in here. So I've kind of done a little makeover of the living room that's now gorgeous blue and bits and pieces are happening. But when we renovate, we'll completely move out and do the whole thing at once.
Sure.
Must be exciting in your line of work having a blank slate.
Well, we'll see how much of a nightmare client I am.
Your toughest critic.
Exactly. We've been working with the architect to get the drawings for council approved, but as for the interiors, we actually haven't started yet.
Sure.
And as a designer, I've got 5,000 ideas in my head. So I'm actually very curious to see how I go designing my own home, but I'm very, very excited.
Yeah.
And to throw a curveball in that, like constantly changing trends and things like that and getting new ideas. And so kind of what you're starting like now, the start of the year, like by the end of the year, like, I don't like that anymore.
I will have seen so many different things. There's maybe a couple of like design details I've tried to pitch to clients that they've knocked back that I might want to try in my home. So who knows what the end result will be, but I'm very excited.
Yeah, fantastic.
Are you going to document it as you do it?
Yes. Figuring out how to document it now. I said to my fiance the other day, why don't we just do a whole full-blown reality show? You know, like pieces to camera like the housewives do, make it really drama-filled.
100%.
He knocked that back. We'll see how we go. It might just be a little renovation diary
Brie's
stuff.
blocked.
100%, yes. So we'll see how that goes.
I look forward to that. That sounds awesome.
I feel like a lot of your your TikTok viewers would be quite interested in that as well, like you doing it yourself as well, as opposed to like, finished projects.
Absolutely. And also from my point of view, I've renovated many houses, but I've actually never renovated my own.
Absolutely.
So I think that the way that we service our clients will definitely change after I've done my own and seen what it's like to be on the other side.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Interesting.
Oh, exciting. So let's talk about art. Do you remember the first piece of art you ever collected or bought?
I think the first piece of art that I ever brought into my home, I would have been I'm still living at home. I'm thinking maybe I'm like 15 or something. My mum and I, ever since I was a child, we've gone to markets, like kind of car boot sale situations. And I found this really cool, like hammered steel, metal and tiled mirror. I know it's not technically art, but it was like a sculptural piece that I was just absolutely obsessed with. I actually still have it. It's not hanging at the moment, but that was the first time I remember thinking about what was going on the walls. Of course, before that I had posters and stuff like that as a child, but that was the first time that it was like, okay, this piece is very, very cool and I want that to be a part of my bedroom.
Cool. Cool.
I love that. It's a great start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe let's talk about what artwork or artists do you have in your collection? Because we've spied one of your artists
Well,
from
actually,
Bluethumb.
Yes.
Show me one, but
Yes. So the one I think you're referring to is that massive Shane
Yes,
Bowden piece.
yes.
Got that probably probably around 2020 we
Yeah.
got that. We were living in a rental at the time, just big white loft and, you know, staring at the walls. It was like something needs to happen here.
Yeah. Of course.
The budget wasn't massive. Shane's pieces generally come without being framed,
Correct.
which makes them a bit more affordable. Well, you still have to get them, you know, framed, of course. But it was a really nice piece to kind of give a lot of oomph to the space. And luckily, Zach, my fiance, we share a similar taste in art where we both like really large scale, bold and colourful pieces. So I think that Shane Bowden piece we have is not for everyone, and a lot of people don't like it, and that's why we like it. You know, I think
sure.
art is quite cool in that way where it only matters if you like it, and that Shane Bowden piece for us is that. And of course, it's now in our new house in the living room. Like that was kind of the inspiration, one of the inspirations behind painting the wall blue, because it was going to go with that piece so well. Yeah, we absolutely love that.
It's a big
lovely.
light blue sort of
It's
abstract.
It's like
isn't
blue,
it?
black, red,
Yeah.
which are all very powerful colours,
Yeah.
like particularly on a wall and particularly in their scale. I think
Yeah.
the piece is like 1.5 metres by 1.5 metres. So that's quite daunting for a lot of people, but I think it's nice to get those sort of big pieces on a wall. It's really a focal point.
Yeah.
It's nice that you've been able to move with it as well, and it
Yeah.
suits your new space as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I found like when I was living in an apartment, works that I have in there, I'm like, I've moved to a bigger house now, and I'm like, this doesn't work as much, but
Yeah.
it's nice that like such a big piece can like move with different spaces.
Yeah, totally. And it was lucky that we had a wall that was big enough in this new place. But I think it's one of those pieces where it can take up a whole wall, and that's okay. It's almost like wallpaper at that point,
True.
you know.
Very true.
So I think that's quite nice about a big piece. Sometimes it's like just whack it on a blank wall and you've got, you know, a wall treatment.
Absolutely. Love it.
And what about some other pieces that you love that you have?
So we've got there's an artist called Bobby Clark. I think she's from Melbourne. She does I don't really know what the word is. Lots of shapes in different colours. Again, it's that colour piece that I'm drawn to, it seems. So I got 4 of her pieces. They're limited edition art prints. They're not originals, but they're each one of 100 or something. And we actually framed them in these beautiful burlwood frames, which just kind of added a bit more spice to the pieces. You know, I think in a white or a black or an oak frame, they may have looked a little more run of the mill, but in these beautiful like textured burl wood frames, they're just really spectacular.
I like that idea actually of like kind of upping art with like an interesting frame.
Yeah.
They used to do it all the time. I don't know why we've gone to
Yeah,
boring frames.
I know,
Like, you know,
yeah.
the masters.
Yeah.
Why do we do like big gold elaborate frames? Why are we doing white
Boring
black
oak,
and
I'll say it. I'll say it.
Sorry,
Why are we
George,
doing
white.
boring
Boring,
white frames? Yeah.
We actually do
Bring more back.
Yeah. Funny thing, we've launched in the US.
Yes.
And we do the three frame colours here, which is black, white, and natural. The US, the most popular framing colour is actually antique gold,
Really?
Oh, really? That's
which
interesting.
blew my mind.
Wow.
'Cause I think of antique gold as like those big
Yeah.
kind of, but that is,
In like a slim profile or a
Yeah.
thick profile? I think
I am
Australia.
here for it.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Bring it
it's
back.
bold, it's something.
I think Australians might get around that as well.
I don't know why it was
Yeah.
ever phased out.
Well, we could try.
Try
it.
that.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, how do you think about, and this may be going off script a bit, but how do you think about when you're working and you're sort of, say you're doing a residential, you're doing a design for a residential house, how do you think about how you put art in the space? Does it sort of come last after the bigger pieces, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and it's one we've changed as Studio Brie has grown. It's actually a question fellow interior designers ask me a lot as well. I've actually been asked that more than once by a fellow designer, and the way we do it is we actually do it based on the client, because as much as we would love every single client to have this huge art budget and this big passion, some people just don't value art as much as others. It's the same with everything. Some people don't value, designer furniture like others do. So what we do now is we'll actually ask the clients what their art budget is. It's treated as a completely separate budget to furnishing. Some people will have a 6-figure art budget. Some people will say, I found these $20 prints online, let's just do those. So we've had to do it by client just because everyone's tastes are so different. Same goes for where it fits in the design process. Sometimes we have in the past designed an entire room around a piece of art because the client's fallen in love. Sometimes it's something that comes last, and usually it's a consideration that gets made within the furnishing phase. So we look at art as one of the major pieces of furniture. So we'll start looking at art at the same time we're looking for someone's sofa.
Yeah. Living room spaces, I feel like, it's quite important.
Yeah.
Those two big art and the sofa match. And
totally.
I can see how one could come first. You have a visitor you want, you match the couch to it, or vice versa.
We've actually got clients at the moment, literally tomorrow we're going to start sourcing these big ticket items, and we're looking for sofa at the same time we're looking for art, and it's kind of going to be whatever excites them the most first, the room will revolve around.
Sure. And on that as well with sourcing, I guess you would go from galleries, auction houses, things like that to sort of find online, Bluethumb maybe, but
I think in every project we've done in the last, I can probably honestly say in every project we've done in the last 2 years, I think we've specified Bluethumb. At least one piece, because the great thing about Bluethumb is from an affordability point of view, a lot of our clients love art and they're only just starting their collection. So perhaps they're not at the point where they're getting a gallery priced piece of art, but that's where Bluethumb is so good because it's just that step below usually, and it's an investment for them, but it's not completely overwhelming $30,000 piece of art.
Yeah. I love to hear that.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's great.
It's great. It's a tool like that, really.
Yeah, we love Bluethumb. We use it all the time, honestly.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Too kind, Brie. Amy said, because I love your TikTok.
Thank you.
One of you had a kind of a tip around finding furniture on Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
Is there sort of any, I guess, how would you approach it? How do you find good stuff? Because Facebook Marketplace is kind of, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, my Facebook Marketplace is utter trash. Like, how are you finding these great pieces? And it's about working the algorithm, like anything. I'm scrolling on Facebook Marketplace honestly as frequently as I am on TikTok and Instagram. Like, that is just my default. I'll open Facebook Marketplace, scroll, like what I like. Maybe I'm looking for something in particular. I'll type a few keywords in. I get those hits. We're saving, interacting. And then the algorithm updates and it knows what you're looking for. It knows that you always press on retro as a keyword, for example. So it's going to start delivering you all this cool retro furniture. So that's the way to do it, is just, you've really got to work at it.
Flip some rocks.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So you would be very, with your work, you would be seeing a lot of art, a lot. Do you kind of have like a Pinterest wish list? You have this big, long list of art you want yourself, or?
Yes, I do. In my, this is a tip for everyone. In my Instagram, and sadly TikTok doesn't allow you to make saved folders yet.
Oh, okay.
But in my Instagram, I have about, 25 folders. One's labelled Australian art, one's labelled USA art, one's labelled European art, and I save artists that I love in there. The same goes for like some furniture pieces I might like, anything like that. So I've got a live list of, at this point, probably over 100 pieces of art. Yeah. But it's just nice to look back on, not only for myself, but I'll think to myself, there's that big yellow piece of art would be perfect for this room. And I can go back into that saved folder, find it and show the client. So it's a really valuable tool. But yes, I've got a lot of saved art.
And would you use Instagram quite a bit for your projects, obviously sourcing things as well?
We do. It's more, I don't actively search on Instagram at the time. It really is about those saved folders that I'll come back to. Sure. Because I think if you're looking for something, you probably can't find it.
Yeah, sure.
So I like to utilize those folders to go back when I might need even like a piece of decor. You know, when I do the TikTok gift guides, a lot of that product is saved in folders. So it's just a nice glossary, I guess, to go back to and find brands.
So changing tack a little bit, you started Studio Brie in 2020?
I believe, the end of, I think. Yeah.
Was it sort of daunting going out on your own, starting something, or you knew what you wanted to do and it was just the next step? How did you approach it?
It was daunting. I think if I knew how hard it was, I would have been way more scared. You know, it's that ignorance is bliss thing. You don't understand 90% that's going to go into it. If I knew how hard it would be now, I'd be a lot more scared. But I've always wanted to work for myself. I think whatever career I landed in, I would have always had my own business. I don't know. My brain's just wired that way. Okay. I think my mum's the same. It's just that want to always have your own thing, you know? Yes. So I think having my own studio was always going to happen. And I just kind of took the jump when it made sense.
And the first few months did it go okay? Or
pretty slow. I think I had a couple of smaller projects on the side while I had another job. Yeah. So I didn't start with nothing going on. I had a few very small jobs. So that kind of was something for me to do. And I think that's probably the important way to do it because it's very hard to just start fresh with no work to show and try to get clients. So it kind of happened organically in that way. It was also a choice that, you know, Zach and I made together. It was like, okay, you're always going to have your own interior design studio. That's always been something that's going to happen. Let's make the decision to do it now. And then financially we worked as a team until I started getting those, you know, bigger projects.
Yeah.
And dare I say that kind of emerged in the COVID era as well.
Yeah.
So right at the end of, 2020 is the start of the.
Yeah, but I think it was towards the end of the year of 2020.
Yes, which was kind of the bright spark of that year, really.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's quite nice. So it kind of, the ideas kind of developed around that time and then decided to open it.
Yeah. And I think I had something going on and I think I'd also started posting on TikTok probably around that time. We were also filming the show. Sure. So I kind of thought, you know, if I'm on a show as myself as a designer, it probably makes sense to have my own studio. So there were a few things working hand in hand that made that the time to just do it.
Yeah, cool. And with Studio Brie, what are some of your sort of favourite projects that you've done?
Well, my favourite to date is probably one we're working on right now. It's being built right now. And it's just been such a great project because the clients, they're dream clients, they value design, they trust us, and we have a very similar vision. So the interiors that are coming to life through that project are just absolutely spectacular. Our recently completed Stradbroke Island project as well.
I saw that one.
We specified heaps of Bluethumb through there, actually.
Lovely.
We did, who do we do? Hang on, I wrote this down. Where are we?
I appreciate your notes.
Thanks. Otherwise, I would have just rambled.
You're welcome to.
No. I think, I can't find it, but I think April Island.
Yes.
And there was another artist who did this beautiful diptych. We kind of stuck to blue and green and neutral tones because we are gun barrel view of the ocean in that project. And we just wanted that art to be secondary to that view, not be like the focus. And with that project, it was very cool as well because we focused on the Bluethumb artists were all from Queensland.
Yes, I was just going to say, because April's from Queensland. Yeah, beautiful.
So that was really important to us, and the client really liked that as well. Yeah. So that was fun to source for that project.
That's cool. I think I've seen pictures. He's got this amazing kind of view of water.
That just got it right up on the design files, wasn't it? Yeah, that's where I saw it. Yeah, just this. Yes, I did when I was doing my research.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, Brie, where would you get kind of your inspiration and your ideas for projects?
From everywhere, but they do absolutely start with the client.
Yeah.
Like I think they start with, we really want to make personal interiors for our clients. We don't want any of our rooms to look the same because we want them to be about the people that are living there. So generally it starts with the client. We get to know them. Maybe it's about their lifestyle. Maybe it's about, you know, like I said, maybe it's about this piece of art that they've fallen in love with and the scheme and the brief kind of take shape around the client. Once that's solidified, we look far and wide. I mean, usually clients come with some sort of inspiration that they love. We kind of dissect that, tell them what they're looking at, you know, because a lot of the times the clients will come with beautiful imagery, but they don't actually know what they like about that. So we'll break that down, figure out the brief and what the project's going to be about, and then we'll go from there. We'll look at suppliers. Our suppliers that we use are so helpful. We can go to them and say, this is the brief, this is what we want to achieve, and they'll help us with beautiful lighting schemes or drapery schemes. So that's amazing. Sometimes it might be based on a colour, it might be fashion, it might be Europe because they love European travel. It just really comes from everywhere.
Yeah, cool.
And what might be one of the kind of the wildest kind of, when you've been given a brief, the wildest idea to build a brief around? Have you had any really something crazy yet? Or
welcome it.
Yeah.
I welcome a wild brief. We haven't had anything yet, but I'd love that.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah, I think that'd be really exciting.
like imagine someone coming to you with like a taxidermied zebra and like
I was thinking of the giraffe. Started with the giraffe.
I would
Let's
love
build.
that. I feel like that would be my dream client because it's that sort of craziness, you know. We don't mind taking risks, particularly when it's the client's idea, you know.
Yeah,
so I think
sure.
something like that would be very, very cool.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I hopefully you get one soon.
Let's talk about 2024 and sort of the trends. Like, what do you know, I saw on one of your videos that millennial grey's out. You know, blank white is out. What's trending or going to?
I think the overarching theme that we're seeing is, you know, millennial grey and the blank white walls, they are kind of this bigger picture that is cookie cutter, right? So if you love grey, go for your life and put grey. It's more about the cookie cutter aesthetic and the sort of minimalist for the sake of being minimalist and being scared to take risks. I think 2024 is about owning your spaces and making them really personal, even if other people don't like it. Again, coming back to that Shane Bowden piece in my house, that's not for everyone. That's what people are taking to their interiors in 2024. I love this zebra coloured sofa, even though everyone's going to make fun of me and they're going to say it's ugly. I love it, so it's going in my house. It's that sort of mentality where we're looking to colour, we're looking to texture, we're looking to pattern. We're kind of trying to make our homes these safe haven sanctuaries that feel really authentic to us, which is so exciting. That's so much more exciting than these cookie cutter, you know, blank wall interiors.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I'm really sick of boucle cream couch on repeat in a cream room.
Yeah, right. When I say cookie cutter, I know that you've got an image that immediately comes to mind.
I just think of Kim Kardashian's house.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
just my mind
Just the minimalist.
And look, some people really genuinely gravitate towards that style, and that's what they should have. But what I'm seeing is a lot of people are decorating in that style because they don't know what else to do, and it's the only sort of popular interior they've seen. So if they're decorating their own home, they're scared to take risks because they think they're going to get it wrong.
Yeah, that's
so they default to this sort of more bland style, even though maybe they do want colour. They just have no idea how to do it.
And maybe a bit scared as well.
Exactly.
So like, oh, I don't know, like cream's safe and white is safe. And
exactly.
Yeah, maybe.
So look, I'm all about people having those beige interiors if that is their true style, but from my point of view, what I have people telling me and what clients have expressed is that's not necessarily their style. They just don't know what to do and they're too scared to take a risk.
Totally. Yeah. Doesn't help when it's kind of that saturated.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally. Now, let's talk about the TV show, Brie, Australia's Best House. How did that come about for you?
I actually hijacked my fiancé Zach's audition.
Oh.
So he's a real estate agent. So he was asked to audition for a show, a different show. They were looking for a male real estate agent. And I was like, give me that email address. Well, I thought, you know, they're not going to cast me if they're looking for a male real estate agent. But I thought maybe, you know, for future shows, they might think of me. And that's exactly what happened. So I sent in an audition. They probably thought, where on earth did this girl come from? How did she get this email?
So you got the part, not him.
No, it was for a different show. Yes, I ended up getting the part, not him. Don't worry, he doesn't let me live it down. But that's how it happened. Yeah, it was a big production company that specialised in shows that were about homes. So I just thought it's nice to get in front of them and see, you know, if they ever need a female interior designer, maybe I'll be front of mind. And that's exactly what happened. I got a call a couple of years later.
Yeah.
And it was like, we have this show, we think you'd be great.
Wow. So they just had you on file for it. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Was that your first time sort of on TV?
First time on TV, I had done some filming stuff, but like I've been in front of a camera before, but this certainly not in this context.
Yeah,
so
sure.
yeah, this was my first time doing a show.
And how was it? Was it a big learning curve? It was easy? Was it?
I find it easy.
Yeah.
And I know some people really don't, but I just don't really have any problems speaking to camera or public speaking. And that's just a skill set that I have. Some people have skill sets that I don't, and I have this particular skill set. So for me, it hasn't been too difficult. It's felt quite natural, particularly because I'm speaking about interiors, which is something I know inside and out. It's quite easy.
Yeah, and care about.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that, similar, you make great content on TikTok, and really some of it goes completely viral, you're in the millions. Did you have to learn what worked? Did it just come naturally? I know you post really regularly, right? Like once a day or...
That's what we're trying to do in 2024, once a day. So you can hold me to that now that I speak on this podcast.
Tomorrow.
And comment if I haven't. So really trying to up that, to once a day, which is, I think, there's so much to talk about in interiors. It's really achievable to do that. But... it's definitely trial and error. And it goes through trends, you know, like in 2021, for example, you probably wanted your videos to be under 30 seconds. But now in 2024, you probably want your videos to be 3 minutes long and provide more good content. So there are trends when it comes to content too, but I think it's about, at the end of the day, I think what I found that works is most of the time providing value. You know, some can be just for myself, just like fun videos of, you know, me in a nice outfit or whatever. But I think the majority of my content, when it's educational and people are learning something about interiors, that's what performs really well.
Yeah. I mean, I was fascinated to work out how to style one of those, is it a Nagumi? The
Noguchi coffee table?
Noguchi,
Yes.
How would you actually, it's such a weird shape.
Yeah, and it's
so
stuff
got
like...
in a rabbit hole on your TikTok.
And I got rid of my wine bottle. It's gone now. I saw that one. I was like, no. Straight in the bin.
Yeah, don't worry, I used to have a whole shelf.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine.
Hide them all.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any clients from TikTok by any chance? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, we're starting a really big new build renovation in a few months, and that client originally found me through TikTok.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've actually had quite a few TikTok clients, ranging from decorating projects all the way through to major new build renovation. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And what, I guess on another kind of note, what would kind of be your favourite projects to work on? Like, is it big builds or is it little client projects?
I think it doesn't matter about the size. I think it's more about the mentality of the client. Someone that really wants to make the house a home and is willing to take risks, trust design and values design. And that's the most fun and the most fulfilling, you know, when you can be collaborative with a client and get a really good result. That's amazing.
They don't give you too many roadblocks.
Yeah,
and a bit
exactly.
Of, time to be like free choice, what you like. Yeah, that's lovely. I guess what's up for 2024 with you, Brie?
Anything exciting? You've got a few big projects you were saying.
A couple of big projects, including our own reno.
Yes.
So that's going to be one of the major projects for this year, which will be very exciting. Don't worry, I'll be documenting it all.
Yes, I can't wait to see.
When does that kick off, or it's still in planning?
We are submitting to council, within the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
And we're hoping for a smooth ride through council. Good luck. Yes. And then essentially, we've really packed it into 2024 because we're renovating, getting married and going on a honeymoon.
Gosh.
Yeah, so there's a bit going on.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah. So the renovation will probably start, I guess, after we get married and we get home from the honeymoon.
Yeah. Gosh, how is it planning a wedding at the same time as trying to plan renos?
It's actually been fine because there's so much going on. It's made me make really quick decisions when it comes to the wedding. It's like, get in, get it booked, get it done.
Yeah.
So it's actually been really liberating to have other things to think about, because I haven't had time to sit there and look at, 500 venues and decide which one. It's like, we go to a venue, we love it, we book it.
Done.
Find a dress we love, we book it. All that sort of stuff.
You're the dream.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the anti-bridezilla. You're like the let's get it done
make
right.
a decision quickly.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
We'll check in like a week before the wedding.
We'll see.
But I think that to me it's really important to enjoy the day and not stress about it. So, whilst styling and aesthetics are important to me, if things don't go right on the day or whatever, it's just not going to be something that phases me. The day's about spending it with, the important people.
Absolutely.
So I think that's taken a lot of the pressure off is, I've booked suppliers that I trust and I'm just going to trust them to execute on the day. If things aren't the way they're meant to be, oh well.
Can't do anything.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Great attitude for it, I think.
Thank you.
I really look forward to seeing the process document of the house reno. On your...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That will be very fun. I need to figure out if we're doing it in like seasons, if we're going to, maybe
I like that,
maybe the design stage is a season, maybe the build stage is a season. We'll see. I have to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely got a crowd.
Yes.
Already.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like, our audience love the in-studio stuff. They love seeing an artwork come together.
Yeah.
That was great, actually. That's when you first came onto my TikTok, when you were putting artworks in situ in your room. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that series did really well because people want art.
They do,
And a lot of people don't have original art budget, but they want original art. And again, that's where Bluethumb can be an affordable option for most people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting on the art buyers as well. There's the the broadest buying set cohort are sort of that first time collectors. But we obviously have people who buy lots of art as well. But even people who've bought quite a lot of art, most of them don't call themselves collectors.
Yeah.
It's quite a funny thing. We did a survey of the last few thousand buyers, and 88% said, I'm not an art collector.
Really?
But most of these people have bought a couple of pieces.
Oh, really?
And so I think there's a bit of intimidation factor.
Yes,
to
I was
say I'm a
just going to
collector.
say that. Yeah, I totally agree.
You don't feel like you don't know enough to say that, but it's like you are a collector. You collect art.
Yeah, that's such a good point, because I think there is like that stigma of, an art collector is in the upper echelon of society, but it doesn't have to be that way. Like you said, if you're passionate about collecting art for your home, guess what? You're an art collector.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're already there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other thing that was really great about your TikToks was that we get quite a lot of I work with corporate clients as well, and they come to us like, we just want prints. And I was like, do you know, like, originals can actually be cheaper than prints sometimes? They're like, really? So I thought that was great that a lot of people only think they can afford prints.
Exactly.
When you can get original, your artwork, your Big Shane Bowden is an original artwork. So
exactly.
I think it's really interesting. Like, that was great, breaking that down for people.
Yep. And I think originals feel different in a space.
They totally
to
do. You get the texture, that you like the paint.
Yeah,
I just think
knowing it's a one-off, it's like it's nice.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a nice feeling.
They're not churning them out the same thing all the
I don't know.
time. But I think people kind of, when they're buying artworks, they think, I can only get a print. And we're like, no, you can actually get an original for that price.
And that's exactly what that affordable art series I did was about. It was literally about proving to people that they can afford originals when they think maybe they have to go and get a print that they've seen before.
Yeah. No, it was great. Good. Very handy.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming in, Brie.
Thank you, Brie.
you.
It's been great chatting with you.
It's fun. I can stay
feel
here
like
all
I
day.
learned some stuff.
But don't, because it's so hot in here.
It's fine.
But no, great. It was really nice to chat to you today.
Thank you, you too.